So you're wondering why 9,540 Stellar, yes, approximately that many tokens will make you financially free in the future. Guys, this isn't a joke, this is some serious stuff, and it plays into a few important rules I like to teach on this channel. So if you're someone who has acquired this many tokens or more, even around this many tokens, you're definitely going to be set for the future. Let me explain to you what I'm talking about here. Give me the chance, and obviously if you are someone who is a big bull on XLM, well, this is going to be perfect news for you. So let's get into some of the reasons why, okay? So first of all, why 9,540 tokens? What an abstract number. Well, it's for a reason. Right now, it's about $1,500 US, okay? So at the current price, just under 16 cents, that's kind of what it equivalates to. And I think that most people watching this video in my channel can afford to spend this much money, already have this much money in XLM. Again, it's not so much the money we're concerned with, it's the amount of tokens. I mean, you could have bought $1,500 worth of XLM at 70 cents. You're going to have a different amount of tokens, spend the same amount of money, okay? It's very important we accumulate the tokens, not always the actual price itself, all right, the cost. So again, really only $1,500. Well, let me explain to you why this much money, yes, can set you financially free. I think a lot of us have different terms, what we consider financially free. For me, a financially free person is someone who can put their time, energy, and effort for multiple years into a craft without worrying about money, or if you're someone in your late stages of life, just be able to live off this money, okay? Remember, this is one investment, okay? So we're gonna look at today some very important points, but the most important by far is the bottom one, okay? So we'll look at 2025's potential as a catalyst for what comes next, the looming explosion that I think will happen in 2025, as most of us should know, and possibly a Twitter integration as well. Guys, there's a jam-packed video today. I am really excited because, again, I'm going to share with you this. It's an unlock that for some reason people don't talk about, okay? It's how to turn that amount of XLM to become financially free, period. Now, if you ask yourself, is now a good time to buy a coin right off the rip? Well, the answer is, look at this chart, okay? We've had multiple opportunities to get in at cheaper prices. Over here, by the way, this is the last 12 months. We had 10 cents, 7 cents, over here at, 8.5 cents. So we've had multiple times, guys. We have pumped up recently to more or less, again, about 16 cents. So if you're asking me and you're a bit confused, like, oh my God, I've missed the boat. Well, of course, when in doubt, guys, it's always good to zoom out. If we have a look back here at 2019 and 2020, aka the last bear market, well, the average price was fluctuating between 4 cents and 8 cents. And if you, again, zoom into where we are right now, that more or less is about double, okay? So the average is about 7 cents right up to 16 cents. So again, guys, it actually isn't too bad considering this was back like literally, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. So yeah, it's not too bad at all. We just got very lucky with XLM because of the XRP lawsuit. So count your blessings. Yes, a lot of projects are a lot more up in price compared to back at those stages, okay? So first of all, what are these roadmap events? Now, I've spoken profusely about these events and also other things about XLM that make me very bullish, so I'm not going to cover this too much. If you do want to learn more about XLM, and I definitely suggest you do, I will leave some videos down below and also a playlist that you guys can go ahead and actually watch to get you up to speed ASAP. But one of XLM's sort of gateways into Web3, their development layer that allows applications to be built like dApps, is called Soroban, okay? And Soroban's pretty much getting a reboot. It's getting like a lot of attention put on it. And so essentially it's gonna be a really good development layer for developers to come on and actually build, because to get developers to build on anything, right, you have to entice them. Good infrastructure, money, or one of the two, or both, okay? So they're gonna focus on this. They're also focusing on bringing sort of scalability and decentralization upgrades to the network as well. So they're gonna undergo some tests to ensure they're capable of handling increased traffic, which is very important. A little hint there, okay? Now this came from Stellar themselves, their 2023 roadmap. Anyone can Google that right now and have a look at all this sort of stuff. But essentially, guys, they're preparing for something. They're preparing for the shift. And I think they know 2025 plus is gonna be when these guys really take off. So of course, also one of the big components that they have on this 2023 roadmap is the increase of utility, okay? They want to bring more utility into XLM because they know, of course, utility is king, okay? It's the number one thing on any platform. Now, they mentioned down here they're going to be doing things like onboarding and pushing the world's most used assets onto Stellar. Things like, of course, that can be tokenized, right? Gold, silver, so on and so forth. Ensure on and off ramps are easy to use. This is going to come into the Twitter example in a second. And also push Soroban so that Stellar can create a strong DeFi ecosystem with real use cases. Very simple stuff, guys. But again, we're looking at the roadmap here to help propel us. Again, that 9,540 XLM, for it to get to a financial freedom status, it's got to be able to be exacerbated by some really important news, okay? And this definitely is. And remember, if they're building in the bear, that's a very good thing. And again, this was only the 2023 roadmap. So also, we do have a looming explosion, in my opinion, right? So obviously, we all know about the lawsuit. Every grandmother and cat knows about this damn lawsuit by now, right? And we had a little bit of a taste recently about what this can do for XLM's price. In approximately 3 hours, we jumped up about 70% in price, went from $2.6 billion market cap right up to a $4.4 billion market cap, guys. So massive burst in price, again, in only 3 hours. And again, as I mentioned down here, while there hasn't been a somewhat victory in regards to the actual Ripple versus SEC lawsuit yet, as in an all-out victory, it is still on the table, guys. So we can wait for some more pressure, or at least buy pressure, to come in when that news is eventually, finalized. And I think most of us pretty much know at this point, XRP will win that lawsuit to some degree. And at least they already partially have in the terms of the utility token itself. It's just kind of disputing right now in terms of the way they sold their tokens in these things called SAFT rounds. They're selling of the tokens for an investment purpose to actual accredited investors. Most projects do this, but at least we know, even though it is actually right now being sort of challenged by the SEC, that hopefully the XRP token itself is a utility, at least when it's out and about. Okay, so again, some very important stuff, but I think the biggest news is yet to come. Now, also, I'd like to briefly interrupt this program with a very special announcement. Guys, if you wanted to support all the hard work I put into making these videos for you, then there's 2 links down below I'm going to suggest you take a look at. The first is a sign-up link to BitGet, which is one of the best exchanges in the space. These guys have a $300 million user protection fund and proof of reserve, so they're one of the safest exchanges and is the one I personally use for all my crypto investments. And for you non-traders out there, for you guys like me who prefer to invest and acquire the most important information and from the most reputable sources, then Token Metrics have also sponsored this channel, guys. They've offered you guys a free subscription to their basic plan, which is typically worth $20 a month or basically $200 a year. So please, if you take your investing seriously and want the most up-to-date information, go check out the links down below, guys. I've got you covered, and thank you for supporting me. Now, with that said, back to the video. Twitter, guys. So recently, a lot of you guys would have seen this. I'm not going to play it, but essentially Elon Musk announced that the rebrand from Twitter to now X will hopefully, well, I'll let the guy say it himself, right? In quotations, essentially, if done right, X, which again is the new Twitter, would serve people financially to such a degree that over time, it would become half of the global financial system. So obviously, there's been a few rumors, just kind of like the inception of the ISO 222 altcoins, that potentially XLM is one of those projects to position itself to be onboarded within this initial sort of development. Obviously, we think that Bitcoin and Doge will definitely be on that list. This guy has a massive fascination with Dogecoin for some reason. Definitely Bitcoin might be in that list, but I think it's a no-brainer for Elon to want to use, Stellar in this case for an onboard into Web3. And I think to, absorb half the world's global financial system on X, kind of like WeChat for China, essentially it's going to have to, access Web3, I strongly believe. And I think XLM's a great on and off ramp, as we mentioned before in those roadmap events, to kind of, be that gateway into Web3. So it's a very, very important thing to look at. But here's where the true secret sauce comes in. Here's where the really important information I think everyone needs to know, and a lot of people don't, okay? This is how you actually transform that 9,540 XLM tokens, again, with the help of all the news that I've mentioned to you. Again, this is sort of news that's going to be coming out between now and 2025, but this is the secret sauce. I need you to pay attention, please, for your own sake, right? Now, we need to use the power of compounding here. Compounding is a massively underused and underrated sort of source of income, and no one talks about it for some reason, just because it's crypto for some reason, right? You don't need a 250 extra investment, you just need to compound. So I had this comment on my video I posted last night. Now, I redacted this guy's name because I didn't want to call him out directly. I think he is making a very valid point here, but he's actually wrong, okay? So he says the video was titled How to Turn 10,000 HBAR into 2.5 million. Matter of fact, it was more than 2.5 million, but that was the title. And so he says 10K to 2.5 equals a 250X. Current market cap 1.7 billion, HBAR's market cap. So 250X puts the market cap at 400 billion. But he's wrong, because he's looking at it in terms of you buy HBAR, 250Xs, that's the market cap, that's when you make your money, okay? But with compounding, over 2025 and 2030, we could do something like this on like a 30 or 40X, guys. It doesn't have to be a 250X. You might be thinking to yourself, how do you do that? How do you turn 10K into like 2.5 million into 40X? Guys, compounding. I'm going to explain to you in just a second. So for example, right, today, if in this case, right, $1,500 for the 9,540 XLM tokens at the market cap of $4.3 billion, which again is XLM's market cap right now. If we didn't 250x, for example, let's just say we 200x, that would put the price at $300,000 and the market cap at $572 billion in 2030. Now I'm going to show you how to get this 200x and about a 33x. So we're going to get actually just over $300,000 out of this money. Okay, so it's very important, again, you listen to this because guys, anyone, again, $1,500, even in XLM can make you life-changing wealth, financial freedom. So naturally speaking, here's what everyone thinks to themselves, right? They say, well, to turn $1,500 into 200,000, aka 133x, you have to wait for that 133x. It's like a make or break. Either it happens or it doesn't, okay? Or they might say, hey, you can't turn $1,500, aka 9,540 tokens, into anything worthwhile with XLM. It's not possible. It's too far gone. The market cap's too high. Well, again, that's what people presume. That's wrong. That's very, very wrong. I'm going to explain to you the reason in just a sec, but here's, again, that kind of situation playing out here. Again, same situation, right? You have $1,500 worth of XLM today. And so if you're waiting for a 200x, that obviously won't come in 2025, but that might come in 2030. So again, I don't think it'll happen in 2030, but again, just for argument's sake, let's say it happens in 2030, not like 2040. You hold, for that long, 7 years, to hope you get 200x gains, okay? Again, so that's current price, you're pretty much making $300,000. So I'll show you how you can get the same multipliers as if you were to 200x your $1,500 by 2030. Again, we definitely won't see a 200x by 2030. It'll probably be like over here at 2040-ish, right, for XLM, something like that. But essentially, you can make these massive multipliers at the market cap having to 200x as well, okay? So in this typical sense, okay, I bought it 4.3 billion market cap, a 200x from that is like what, like 800 billion? So people instinctively think to themselves, I have to wait for an 800 billion market cap. That is wrong. Very, very wrong. Again, I'm going to show you how you can get 200x gains actually by only 33xing. So over here, again, people think, I'll just sell it all at one spot, or I'll sell it all at one spot until it hits a certain point. Again, wrong. I'm going to show you guys the difference, the result with this example in just a second, and the real difference here, okay? So the true unlock comes with compounding. So you create financial freedom this way with limited amount of money. So in reality, again, you can really only have to 33x overall. So as I mentioned here, same situation plays out, right? We have $1,500, we buy as many XLM tokens as we can, a 16x to the next bull run. I believe a reasonable price we can see is about $2.50 and take off the table. I think we'll see probably more than a maximum of $3, all things given. Okay, there's no bad news with XLM or particularly XRP. So I think if we take the money off the table at a roughly $2.50, I think we'll see about $23,850 return, okay, profit. So yeah, we've turned about $1,500 into 23 grand. That's pretty good. And at this sort of price right here, to put it in perspective for all your numbers, people, that's about an $87 billion market cap with 35 billion supply in circulation. We'll come back to that metric in a second. But here's the unlock. You compound, right? You don't just take that money and, just go off with fairyland. You reinvest it for the next run. So for example, if the next bear market, the lowest price or average price XLM goes to is 35 cents, which is definitely possible. Even if it goes to $1, this is still more profitable, okay? So essentially, what you would want to do, most people, I think, most sane people would probably keep some money. So let's say you keep $6,000 and you reinvest $17,850. And of course, if you buy as many tokens as you can at 35 cents, you'll buy exactly 51,000 XLM. That's the unlock. You now have 51,000 XLM opposed to 9,000 XLM, okay? So this is important because when we try to find how much money you'll make in 2030, you're now multiplying the new, quantity of tokens by the new price. So of course, 51,000 XLM tokens multiplied by $6, you get $306,000. Okay, so that's a massive, massive increase. And as you can see, we 17x from 35 cents to $6, and we 16x from 16 cents to $2.50-ish. Okay, and so the market cap is actually quite reasonable at this level too, $258 billion with 43 billion tokens in supply. So again, you compare this with the traditional example of just buy as many tokens now and hold, right? And what's the result? The result is in 2030, you still have those 9,500 tokens at $6. That's $57,000. Okay. Now, whether people intend to say this or not, that's what they're essentially saying when they say you have to multiply, right? When someone in the comment section says, hey, well, for you to get to this price or to, this many returns with this little money, you have to 144x or like 300x the market cap. That's wrong. Obviously, given a longer period of time, you can make that happen as long as you compound these returns. That's why investors always tell you to look for interest on things and you compound the interest, all right? Because it definitely adds up over time. And if you're wondering how I came up with these numbers here for this supply, well, XLM is kind of restricted with the Stellar Development Foundation because they hold most of the tokens. I'll touch on this more in just a second, but essentially, guys, between the years of 2018 to today, we've seen an average of 7.4% year-on-year inflation. So that's how I kind of came up with those numbers. Obviously, things are going to change. They own all the tokens, so they can emit how many tokens they want. As we saw previous years here, they increased their supply by a whole lot. I don't think that's going to happen again, but it definitely skewed the average year-on-year between, the last since inception 2015 to 2023. So I'm only using kind of like the most reasonable numbers here to predict what kind of the supply will be in the 2024 and also 2030. That's how I kind of came up with the $35 billion for 25. And again, you can see here my predictions came at the 30 billion, which means that I'm overestimating, which is always a good thing to do. And also 2030, I'm saying 42.7 billion. And of course, again, we are overestimating here just to be on the safe side of things. So quite obviously, it can be done, right? It's very simple. I think a lot of people are confusing it because it just seems unrealistic. But guys, I'm telling you right now, you just put the plan into practice, it's going to work out. It's just simple maths over time, okay? You just have to learn to compound, not just take profits off the table completely. Now, I want to mention, something I kind of touched on momentarily there, which was essentially the looming cloud. Because for us, the big problem with XLM is the fact that we can't predict the price somewhat accurately because the Stellar Development Foundation, the SDF, they pretty much have all the remaining tokens. So we can predict a nice and steady 7.4% inflation every single year, but ultimately, what might happen? Well, they could dump 15% in next year and then 20% in the next year. We don't know. Okay, so this is a looming cloud. So let me read you an extract here from Stellar themselves. So they've mentioned nearly 20 billion lumens are out in the open market, and the Stellar Development Foundation retains the other 30 billion or so to develop and promote the growth of Stellar per its mandate. Those lumens will enter the public markets over the next few years. And we don't know the publisher. I couldn't find when it was actually announced, but I'm assuming 2019 because they mentioned nearly 20 billions are out. So that's kind of around 2019, okay? So it's been long overdue. But the point is, again, we don't know how many tokens are going to be actually emitted at any given time, meaning instant dilution could actually happen. But here's the kicker. Here's what most people that aren't really in the space and know too much about crypto will even businesses will kind of forget. That seems scary, but hear me out. The SDF won't make any irrational decisions. Only ones that are net positive for the project, only ones that pretty much benefit the project either now, like in the short term, or in the long term, okay? Any net negative decision will impact partners, connections, reputation, and of course, retail. So they're not gonna make any stupid decisions here, okay? They can lose some pretty big partnerships and also the trust of retail. They won't do that. So we can almost ensure those tokens going into circulation will either be in the hands of a private entity that won't sell those tokens, I was gonna say bribe, but for essentially for a reason of them coming on and using the network, or it could be for a whole host of other reasons, right? Let's just say X decides to use the platform, for example. Well, they might give X 3 billion tokens, hypothetically speaking, for that gas temporarily. And it might be bought over the counter. We don't know these things, okay? But this is essentially going to be net positive. The SDF is a very, very smart entity, guys. I don't want you guys confusing this. However, I must say, it still is that looming cloud. So, look, if you have enjoyed today's video, I would really suggest you guys learn more about XLM over here. And if you want to maximize your profits with XLM, I've got a video doing that over here. Thank you so much, guys. Please like the video if you have enjoyed. If you have, thought I'd drop some alpha for you. And please also subscribe. I do 2 videos every single day. Thanks so much. Talk to you all soon. Take care.